Hello and welcome to another special discussion from the Honest Football Podcast. I'm Charlie Betts, and joining me this week and every week is Daniel Cody and Craig Savage, who are resident Luton Town fans. So today's discussion even is about the I suppose premature departure of Graeme Jones. So before we kick off, we've got a few things we're going to address, which is basically why he's left, your thoughts on that, and where does Luton Town go from here. So obviously, thanks for joining me, you two, and just to kick off, really, were you surprised to hear the news that Graeme Jones has been sacked by?
Well, it has come as a surprise considering we're in a pandemic and there's no football going on. So it doesn't surprise me in Luton Town sort of way that they're the first team to get rid of their manager. If you're going to do it for finances, what they've come out in their statement, I can totally understand that. But for me personally, I think he should have gone after the 7-0 defeat against Brentford.
Just a few months ago, then.
Yeah. I don't know. Were they starting to turn the corner though with him, or not? You know, a few results here and there recently before obviously all this outbreak. But
I mean, I'd say the last couple of months they've been fairly decent. I mean, at home we've been relatively solid since the turn of the year generally. On the road we'd started picking up the odd points, the odd wins, which the football wasn't fantastic, but it was that classic you've got to get results sort of mentality. I mean, the last game before the lockdown is the perfect example of dull 0-0 draw at Wigan, where there were about 3 shots on target in the whole game for both sides. But they were certainly playing for him still. There was no doubt. You couldn't have a doubt about that. The tactic they were playing was working, and with the squad we had, we were probably doing about the best we could do. And the January signings have been good as well, with Carter Vickers in particular making an impact. But it's not so much that I would have expected him to go at the end of the season anyway if we'd gone down. I didn't really have a doubt about that. He never really quite settled. He never really quite clicked with the fans or anything like that. But it's all a bit bizarre that it's happened so suddenly, because the financial reasons I don't really understand, because surely they'll be paying him off a significant amount of his contract.
Well, that's what I was going to say, to sort of, not that someone has no invested interest in this. From a financial perspective, they said they were getting, obviously making changes on that front. But surely then you pay off the remainder of his contract, which was, I don't know how much longer he had left on there, but it does make sense.
3-year deal.
Yeah, so 3 more seasons.
So I mean, is that the actual reason then, do you think? Or is this more of a subterfuge on their part?
I don't know.
I think there's something behind the scenes that has come right. Obviously, if they've been asked to take furlough, because obviously Luton's got the smallest budget in the Championship, considering 2 seasons ago they were in League 2. Obviously, the finances are not going to be there. Obviously, it has the smallest stadium in the league as well. So with the money coming in there, it's not going to be as high as, say, as Leeds United or as West Brom, for example.
Can I make a quick point there, Craig?
Yeah.
I just want to have it noted. It's got nothing to do with this episode. Leeds United have still not refunded the £156 for the 4 tickets for the game that got cancelled on the 21st of March. Carry on.
Really?
No.
That's poor.
Because the game hasn't technically been cancelled yet. It's just been postponed.
I think if you check out Martin Lewis, you might be able to get the money back on that. Because I had that problem with EasyJet, but that's a different.
So Leeds, stop being greedy.
But no, I think I suppose what the next question to that, I suppose, is that, obviously it was a bit of a surprise, but do you agree with it in the sense? I don't think, Craig, you said you weren't surprised as such, and Dan, you thought he'd go at the end of the year, but do you agree with him being sacked on the whole anyway?
To be honest, I think if we're going to look at a performance point of view, obviously, yeah, he has his hand tied with obviously Low's budget, and you got to remember he made these signings. Obviously, Sluga obviously started slowly, had made a mistake. I know Cody loves him so much, but I'll give Sluga his credit. He's actually improved in the last 6-7 games since he's come back in after James Shea's been injured.
Not when we went to the Nottingham Forest game, though, was it?
It's just a shame the other 12 sort of games that he didn't quite make it all work. But then how much is that on Graeme Jones? I suppose what I'm saying is the failings that maybe Luton had, the difficulties Luton had this year, would that have happened if you'd have had a different manager in charge? Is he being made a bit of a scapegoat for what's happened?
Yeah, definitely, to be honest. I mean, I've got to say, the thing I had with the fans, the 7-0 Brentford will take aside, but generally, we've not lost games heavily. We've lost 1 or 2-0. We've lost a lot of games to late goals early in the year. There were a lot of performances where we were in the games. And it was just odd little moments, individual errors. We talked in that Nottingham Forest Luton vlog. There was that the 10th goal that was conceded directly from a Seaman Sluga error, which you can't legislate for as a manager. Yes, I appreciate he's got the last year's Golden Glove winner on the bench, but You're not going to leave your record signing out when you're the smallest club in the Championship by a long way. The bit that surprised me more, actually, and the reason I'm a little bit suspicious about it, is not so much Jones and Brabin going, it's Idiakes going, because he was there previously. He had worked under Harford and was basically acting as his assistant last year with Steve Rutter when he was working at the club. So it was a bit of a bizarre one to see him going, because he'd been at the club a long time and was clearly the leader of most of the coaching sessions at the club.
But do you think he got a pay rise?
I don't know. But the thing that has me suspicious with that one is that I can't see that if Mick Harford was asked there which coaches or managers should we get rid of to save the money, I don't think Idiakes would have been on that list. But I may well be wrong with that.
No, it is a strange one, because I agree with what you're saying about Idiakes leaving as well. But obviously, there's something that we obviously don't know yet that's still for them going.
That's what I was going to lead on to. Is that I suppose you would be hard pressed to find a Luton fan who doesn't think that the club so far, the 2020 group have been handled fairly, in safe hands, and previous to this, fairly astute sort of management of the club. So there must be, is there an element of, well, we sort of trust them on this? There must be something else going on that we don't know, or could it be that they've just, got a bit trigger happy and just gone, firing left, right, and centre?
To me, that has to be the overriding thing. Is based on the last 11 years, my overriding feeling is still we have to trust what they're doing, because they wouldn't just do it for the sake of it.
Yeah.
We know that they're in good hands. We know that they've managed the club well. They've resolved the financial troubles that littered us for the 10 years before, where we're in administration basically every season. So we have to trust them with that sort of thing. I think, to be honest, if we're boiling down to costs, they're probably just trying every possibility to save the stadium that they're trying to make. It's the only option. They've worked so hard to build the land, to get through all of the judicial reviews and that, to then lose out because of an unforeseen pandemic would be pretty heartbreaking for them as fans and for the club. So if this is the measure that means the stadium gets built, I'm sure people won't complain about Graeme Jones and Gary Brabin leaving.
No, I think moving on, though, I suppose I can't imagine Jones was on the highest of wages, compared to other Championship managers. And we'll move on to who you think should come in next. But whoever they hire, are they going to be, are you going to get someone who is going to be on less money than him? Is that the long-term sort of thing? Because you hear some of the names that are being banded around, Neil Warnock, people like that. He's not going to come for less than what Graeme Jones was. So, before we find out your thoughts on the next appointment, is it more of a case of we're going to try and just downgrade a manager in terms of cost for the sake of the stadium and just write off basically that year in the Championship? Do you think that's more the approach they're going for?
I think, to be honest, the club will always look at, obviously, as a club first, keeping the business alive. They have done that superbly since they've actually taken over the club. You look at other clubs nowadays who are struggling financially. I don't think, obviously, I think Luton set the example. I think most clubs will actually do the same thing. They might actually have to get rid of their manager because he might be on a high wage to certain players, just so they can keep the books. But I think for Luton, obviously, they want to keep the stadium. That's the thing. Obviously, the stadium's very important. It's not just for Luton themselves; it's for the whole town, whole community. And the same thing with Newlands Park. But look at it, it is harsh for Graeme Jones. It is harsh. But as you alluded to earlier about fans not being on their side, I think because the previous two, as in with Mick Harford taking over second half of last season, and Nathan Jones before that, were the passionate. And I think Luton fans like to see passionate people. Where Graeme Jones would just, even if they did win the game, he would just walk off and clap the fans and just go off as normal, which it doesn't seem right, because Luton just been used to winning for the last 2-3 seasons.
It just didn't click, did it? That was the only thing. It didn't really click, that emotional atmosphere between the two, which is the big difference to the other managers, as Craig said. Even John Still before didn't have that same outwards demeanour, but did everything to get the fans on side immediately, and it worked within a few months, which Graeme Jones, for some reason, it's just never clicked. But he's done an okay job, in my opinion. I don't think he's underachieved or overachieved. We're pretty much where expected. And we've got a chance with a handful of games to go. It's not exactly a disaster.
Well, he has made mistakes. And,
of course, but he's a new manager.
You can say he's a new manager, but look at the clubs he's been at before that, with Everton and Wigan, and he's been with Belgium as well. Sure, you use that experience to. I'm not saying he should be mid-table, up half of the table, because that'd be an absolutely incredible job. But just using that, look, I think some of his press conferences where he spoke. Obviously, that's where he didn't click with fans, but I think he's just being too real.
But where the club were sort of hindered him, because don't forget, Nathan Jones' first 18 months at the club was pretty average, to be honest. And he got away with a lot of mistakes in his first management job because we were in League Two and we were sort of floating about trying to rebuild. Whereas Graeme Jones is coming to a side you've got to stay up in the Championship. And every mistake is highlighted
as well, isn't it?
Most games are on TV or iFollow now, and you don't really have that leeway that Nathan Jones did a few years back.
No, I think, well, you're talking about Nathan Jones. He's obviously on the potential list of candidates to take over. I'm going to sort of two-part this question for you. Firstly, who would you like to come in? And secondly, who do you realistically think will come in to take over? Whenever that is, whether they appoint them, in the next few weeks or when the season restarts, whenever that is. I don't know who would want to go first.
I'm going to let Craig go first because I can then shoot down his argument because I know what he's going to say pretty much. Go on.
No,
so who would you like to come in and who do you realistically think will?
There's two I really would like to come join the club. That would be one would be New Warnock. That'd be absolutely incredible. But
that would completely deflate all the reasons that they've got rid of the current team. So we know that's not going to happen.
But he knows what he can do. He can get sides up higher up the table. The other one, surprisingly, I know his wage will be probably a bit too high as well. Would be Chris Hughton. I think he's another excellent.
No chance.
That's who I would like.
Yeah, that's who you like. I mean,
I wouldn't mind Guardiola, but it's not going to happen.
I don't want Guardiola.
Well, to be fair, in your defence, Craig, obviously, for people who aren't from Luton, recently Neil Warnock was spotted at Luton Hoo, which is obviously a stately home nearby, a hotel residence, which has started the rumour mill, hasn't it, of that this was all pre-planned and premeditated and that Jones was going to go anyway and Warnock's coming in. So I suppose there's a bit of legs in what you're saying. So that's who you think will come in. That's who you'd like to come in, Craig. Who do you realistically think will come in?
If we're going to go to League One next season, I don't know, actually. I haven't really thought about it.
I'll tell you, why are you doing that then, Dan? Who would you like to come in?
I would not pick Gareth Ainsworth.
Oh, okay.
I would not pick him.
I'll give you a minute then, Craig. I'll save the day for you. I know you two have got your vendetta with Wickham, which people will be able to see in the eye above, but we'll come back to that. In terms of Charlie, I don't actually have a name.
It might be the same person. It might be the same person that you think you'd like is also one who realistically could come in. I don't know.
So the only one that I can think that I would like in the last couple of weeks is one that's not going to join because we're going to be swapping leagues soon probably, is Warne, the manager at Rotherham. But he loves Rotherham. He's going to stay there. He's going to take them up and he's going to be in the higher league next year. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with promotion and relegation, which will have a huge impact on it. It's hard to tell when this is going to be because it could be in 2 months' time and things could be as they are now. It could be in 9 months and another 10 teams have done this and the managers I want and think are realistic have gone elsewhere. But the manager, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the manager I think it's going to be, if I'm being brutally honest, is I think it'll be Nathan Jones, and I'm almost 100% certain of that.
Well, I was going to say that before you shot me down. So.
I can't say I'm a massive fan of it. It's not what I prefer, but I think that's what will happen, and I think if he has a strong start, the Luton fans will forgive him.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That sort of leads me on to the last point then. So, I mean, before you sort of go on to your one, Craig, or do you think Nathan Jones as well?
It wouldn't surprise me if it's Nathan Jones, to be honest. I think if he...
He's got to rebuild. He's got to take a lot of wage.
Yeah, well, there's that. But obviously, he's got to win the fans over early. And obviously, if he does get the job again, and he's got to come out straight away to apologise for how I reacted, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it'll be the same time for Jones. Obviously, it'll take time to rebuild. But I'll tell you what, though, he knows most of the players. And he'll get again.
It'd be a good time to agree it, because technically you'd have that 2 or 3 month cooling off period before he even managed a game. If they put that agreement in place, said your contract will start whenever this ends, it would, if he would agree that and the club would agree that, that's the one way it would give that cooling off period for both parties. But to be honest, if this season's going to finish, I think it'll be Harford for the rest of it.
Yeah.
But Harford's got to bring someone in as well, because he's on his own.
But he'll keep it till the end of the season, and he might just ask an old mate to come back and help him out. Maybe Mike Neal in reversal of 10 years ago. Maybe Steve Rutter come back a few weeks ago.
Steve Rutter come back. He's the glue.
I just want to quickly touch on that Nathan Jones thing, because obviously you two are fairly rational, and it's in any football club. This is not aimed at Luton Town, but you have rational fans and then you have irrational fans. On the whole, if Nathan Jones does come back, where do you think that will sit on the scale of rationality and irrationality in terms of most fans? Where are they going to go on that end of the spectrum, each end of the spectrum?
I think there's a quite simple answer to that, and I don't know if Craig will agree, but if you consider the way that the board spoke, who obviously are Luton fans, after Nathan Jones left, for them to take him back now, they'd have to be more than 100% certain it's the right thing, because I don't think they'd do it if they weren't beyond certain that that was the only option they had and it was the right thing for the club. If they didn't, I can't see that they looked past what he did. So, in my opinion, that would be it.
Craig?
Well, yeah, I think Gary Sweet and Dave Wilkinson, they will always look for the best interest for the club. They always look up for the fans as well, but obviously the best interest for the club. And if Nathan Jones was the only candidate, well, I don't think he'd be the only candidate, but
if you look at the bookies, Mark Hughes is on the list, so that's the sort of list we're talking about.
I think bookies just make up names. Like Steve Robson's, I think, is the favourite at the moment. So
yeah, he is. Yeah.
Another one that I wouldn't mind, but the style of football would clash hugely at that level.
Yeah. Lee Bowyer?
It depends what happens with Charlton.
No, I'm joking. He's not going to leave Charlton, is he? He's not going to get the same money, you know. Well, I've said that. He's lucky he had a job, didn't he, recently? But it's yeah. Sorry, Craig, you were saying. Sorry.
No, I think it's what's in the best interests for the club. Really, I said I think Evan Jones is a great coach. I loved his passion, but he's got a lot to forgive. I wouldn't mind him having back, but obviously I know a lot of Luton fans will say no. And well, look, at the end of the day, obviously you don't forget. So obviously you don't forget the good times that you have with him, but you are going to forget more about the bad times when there's him leaving to go to Stoke.
Let's be honest. The best way to finish the point is we don't really need to worry about Nathan Jones yet. The most important thing is if these 4 people go and keeps everyone else at the club in a job for the next few months until this is all over, then so be it. It's a price that has to be paid. And whether it's Nathan Jones afterwards or 100 other people, then I don't really mind. The club will carry on and we'll be all right, you know?
No, I think that's an excellent point to finish on, Dan. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me today with this, with my new nicely painted fence in the background, no less as well, if you like that.
You was always going to plug it.
You missed a bit.
Put that in the comments as well. But no.
Yeah, I've missed a bit.
What's that?
I think it's a hole.
No, it's not a hole. There is actually a little bit of shade in there.
He's talking about it. After Craig's horrendous comments about my fence, if you disagree with him, you can put. No, I'm joking. No. But no, thank you very much for joining me, gentlemen. So if you did like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And any feedback you'd like to give, put in the comments below. We can be found on Twitter @HonestFootball3, and we will see you next time.